Okay, now we've been in the settings, and now we're going to go into meetings by clicking here on the meetings tab, and we're going to schedule a new meeting. Also, always look up here on your right-hand side of your screen wherever you are. Probably scheduling a meeting is here. I prefer to schedule my meetings in the web portal rather than in the app because you have more options and features in this. So I'm going to schedule a new meeting, and you're going to call it whatever you'd like to. You can enter a description if you'd like. And of course, you're going to use the calendar to pick the day that you want and the time. And then you can select how long it's going to last. And notice because I changed my profile to be Eastern Standard Time, it automatically chose this time as Eastern Standard Time. Interestingly, you can do a recurring meeting. So if you're going to do this once a week on Tuesdays, you could schedule it here with the same link. However, I think it's a little bit more secure just to give a unique link every single time. I mentioned that there are 3 security measures you could take. You could require a password, you could do a waiting room, or you could require registration. And when you do this, then you send out an invitation that gives a registration link, and the participant has to fill out their name, and then they click submit, and then they get the link to the real meeting. So that's how that works. So that's another really good way of knowing that the people who are coming into your meeting are invited. I'm not sure how that will work with students. With adults, it works pretty well. Again, I mentioned you could require a meeting password. That's another way that you can ensure that you have meeting security other than required. And then the third way is the waiting room. For me, I've asked my video to be on and the participant video to be on as we come in. I've allowed both telephone and audio computer. And then I have some options here. And so this one is a bad idea to allow the students to join before you. You want to be in control of that situation. I always like my participants muted, and I selected that in my settings, so that automatically came up for me. But if for some reason I wanted to change it for this particular meeting, I could. I mentioned I like the enabled the waiting room, so that's something that I have chosen, and that happens. But like if I didn't want to do it this time, I could take it off. This is hard. We really can't make that work without it being kind of difficult, and the students have to have a Zoom account. We don't want that. And then you can also do some breakout room pre-assigns. I mentioned that was where you could give the rooms, you can create some new rooms, and you can also pre-assign students to them if you want to. And alternative hosts, if you can't actually be in charge of the meeting and some other person has, maybe you're sick and some other person decided to help you out, then you can name that person as the meeting, and then you just simply save. And then once you've saved, it gives you the meeting details. You can, of course, change anything you'd like, but it does give you some interesting things. So if you just want to share the link with your students through Google Classroom, you can do that. If you want to add it to a Google Calendar, you can do that. So let me show you how that works. That's really nice. And if you're working with adults and a few other adults, this is kind of a nice way to do it. You select your account, and then you authorize Zoom to have access to your Google Calendar. And then it gives you the actual information, and then you can just select from whatever calendar you would want to add it to, whatever class, and then you would save. So that's one way to do that. Gotta find myself back here again. Okay, and then the other thing that you can do is you can invite people through email, and you can copy the invitation here and just click copy, and then you can go into your Google Classroom and go into the People tab and just use the email feature within Google Classroom to email all the students if you'd like to do it that way. So it gives you some options about seeing what your meeting actually looks like, and some options for publicizing it to the right person or people.